Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope this video finds you well. Thank you for joining me. Today with this card we're going to create something that takes a little bit more time, but we're going to relax into our crafting. No pressure, no rush, we're just going to enjoy, nothing complicated. So I'm going to work on craft card. So I'm using a piece of craft card 4 inches by 6 inches, a white mat 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and a craft card 5 by 7. I got my craft card from Amazon and it works quite nicely. It's a nice craft card. Is there a front? Sometimes you can tell there's a front and a back. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to judge, but we'll go with that side anyway. So we're going to do something nice and simple, nothing too complicated or nothing that taxes the brain too much. That's my excuse and I am sticking to it. Now, I just want to see, I'm just wondering whether this will be dark enough for me. We'll see. I'll just cut another piece of craft card. If it isn't, it's not a problem. So I'm going to use my Abutulon stamp set. And I'm going to use this floral here. So we'll just grab the floral. Like so. So let's take our floral. And I'll put it on a bigger acrylic block than I actually need. So I'm going to ink this up with Sand Dune VersaFine Clair. So what I'm going to do is make sure I've got a really good inking of that, because obviously it's a palish colour. So I'm just going to make sure we've got a really good inking. So what I mean by that is keep patting. I know some people sort of go like this. I tend to pat because if I rub it over like that, I still miss areas. Whereas if I move around and just pat that stamp with the ink, it just gives me a really good coverage of ink. And don't scrimp on your ink. So I'm going to use the craft card and I'll place it here on the left. Do you like how I couldn't make my mind up? Let's have it down here a little bit. So I've done no prep. We're just going to relax together and have some creative time together. Now, the craft card is super absorbent. It really is. It sucks that ink into the card. So I'm just making sure, always make sure you've got some fingers on your stamp. Don't remove that finger and then leave it with no hands on there, because you'll just get a wobble. If you always make sure, like if I move this off, always make sure that you've got a set of fingers on there. You don't have to press hard. You just make sure that you've always got some fingers on there to give that stability and so your stamp doesn't rock. So let me just lift this up for you. You can see that I've now got a nice pale image on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my snippet stencil, and it's the heart one, which is this one. So it's Snippet Stencil SS12 Heart. And I love to have a heart that's a little bit different. It's got jagged edges, etc. So we're going to use the heart and we're going to draw around that heart. It's up to you which way you want to have it. I'm going to have this way, like so. So that it is, do I want it there or do I want it? Do you like how Tracy can't make her mind up? We'll have it there, like so. Why I can't make my mind up, I don't know. Look how small my white Prisma pencil is. My lovely friend Lucy bought me some new ones, bless her. There's my new one, but look at my little pencil. I can't not use it until it gets right to the very end. So I'm drawing around the heart with my Prisma pencil. Now, we're not looking for quick results here. We're just going to take our time. So you've then sort of got the heart around the floral. Now, you're just going to take your time, because this video is about creative time together, spending time together and reconnecting with our hobby. So what I'm going to use, you'll obviously might have a bigger pencil. Now, what I want you to do is lightly layer some of the pencil. If you're working with a larger pencil, if you hold your fingers higher up on that pencil, it forces you to really apply the pigment really lightly. So don't go down here like this, like we used to at school. Hold it a bit further up, just so that you're more gentle with that. Obviously, can't do this with this little one, but I'm used to just applying that gentle pressure. So I want you to just apply gentle pressure with the white pencil. So just take your time and just go round using sort of circular motions, just applying the pencil very lightly. So don't apply it too harshly, and don't press on too firmly initially. You don't really want to do that. Now, you could do this with pan pastels. So you could go in with your pan pastel and you get sort of a quick result with your pan pastel, or you could do it with pastel pencils and smudge it with your finger. It's entirely up to you. What I like about using sort of a pencil is that I can really add some light layers of that pencil, and I can go in and add more depth quite easily. We'll think about the flower afterwards. So we'll just do the heart. And then if I sort of, if we, what shall we have? Let me just thinking if we can have a few sort of little droplets sort of here, as if it's sort of dropping down. So we'll add those later. So we'll just like sort of like droplets. So make this a bit rounder. Make that to a point. Make that a little bit rounder, like so, and then to a point. And then a little one here, a little bit rounder. But don't press too hard. We just want to build up the layers. So what I'm going to do now is go back in. I'm going to build up a little bit more of that layer with the white pencil, just gently building that up. Now, if you're looking for quick results or quick cards, this isn't the one. This is more about spending creative time together. So what I want you to do then is go in and just apply another layer of that colour, just so that it's a bit richer, like so. And obviously you want it to come out so that it's lighter as it comes out. So now I'm pressing even lighter with that layer, just so it comes out even lighter. Just to this layer here. So you can see I'm just applying that really lightly. We'll go a little bit firmer here, but then just come out very gently, like so. So I still like to allow things to rest and take my time. So if you can, that's perfect. I'm then going to come in a little bit firmer. Now, I'm still not pressing really hard, but I'm going to come in at the edge, just sort of a little bit firmer. And what I'm doing is sort of smoothing out those edges. So we'll just smooth out. And what I'm going to do, poor English there, I'm just going to grab a paper stump. Or have I got one over here? Let me see if I've got one over here. I've got so much over here. Here it is, a little bit of a paper stump. Now you can sort of sand your paper stumps so that you can clean them and make sure that they're still, at the end of the day, it's paper. You can sand them so they're back to a point if you wish. So you can sand them. There are proper sanders. I'm just using a piece of sandpaper that I've got here. But there are proper sanders that you can get. I'm using a HB pencil. I think it's a 2HB. But I just want to add a little bit. Yeah, yes, it's 2HB. So I'm just going to add a very subtle shade around here. Look where my hands are on my pencil. Even the HB pencil. Can you see where they are on the pencil? If I hold my fingers further up on there, it forces me to not press down too hard. So let's just go around. Nothing taxing there, just a little bit of shading. So let's just add a little bit of shading just around here, around these little sort of droplets there. There we go. And what I can do, just so that I've initially got some shading, is I can just blend that pencil out, just so it sort of blends out and gives me a little bit of the shadow. Now, the idea of this project for you is to relax into it. Maybe you've had a stressful day, or you just want to take your mind off a few things. We all have days like that. This is the perfect project for that, if you just want to relax. So I'm going to need it darker, obviously, but I'll worry about that afterwards. I need the edge to be darker so that it's quite black and deep around the edges, just so that you can see what I've got so far. We haven't got enough depth yet, but I'm just going to add, before I go in with black, I'm just going to add a little bit more of the HB pencil, just to, and you can just scribble it on. You're not doing anything too taxing, you're just scribbling on there. Okay, and then you can just blend this out. Just drag it out so it's nice and smooth with that paper stump. Now don't worry if you haven't got a paper stump and you don't want to do it with a pencil. You can just gently add colour with your pencils, with your coloured pencils, your Prismacolors, and just lightly add colour. So I'm just going around now and just dragging this out a little bit more. Just sort of, I've got like a cloudy, subtle effect just around the edges. And what I'm going to do is get my Prismacolors, and hopefully we'll reach for the black straight away. So we've got the black Prismacolor, which is PC 935. We'll use that in a second, but just get that out ready. And what we want to do now is let's go in and we'll smooth this out a little bit more. So just smooth this out a little bit more. I've got my stencil in the way, so let's move that out of the way. So we're just coming in and I'm using that circular motion just to lay down more of that pigment. Now I'm still not pressing too hard. Let me just see if I've got a clean paper stump. Hang on. I've never sort of used a paper stump with my Prisma. I was just wondering whether it'll just, oh, it's got a little bit of red on it, which is not, that's not clean, is it? That one is. I was just wondering if that paper stump will soften the edges. Yes, it does. So I can use that a little bit later just to soften the edge of my Prisma. So that's perfect. So I'm just going to blend a little bit more. And now when I come out to this area, I'm pressing even lighter so that there is a differentiation between, you know, there's a difference between this and this area here, just so that it's lighter. And you can see a little bit of the card through there. Let's just add a little bit more just to the edge. Just so that that is just lightly. So as I sort of come into this area here, I press on a lot less than I do here at this area. So I'm sort of leaving some of the fibres of the card sort of open, whereas on this area I'm pressing on a little bit harder and smoothing out the area. And what I'm doing is, how you smooth it out is you're filling in the open areas of that craft card so that you see less of the craft card and more of the pencil. But as I come further into the heart, I don't press on as much. So then I'm going to come in now and I'm going to add probably my last layer. Just to add. So now this will be really filled in here because I'm pressing a little bit harder with my pencil and filling in the gaps on my card. But then as I come to this area, I still use the circular motion, but I'm more gentle, just so that you can see what you're getting here. Okay, so I'll leave that so that you can see some of the grain of the card, but this area here is more smoothed out, just so that it's more smoothed out. But I am a great believer in that you should give your card time to rest. Now, what you want is a nice sharp pencil. I don't think even that's sharp enough. Let me just sharpen it a little bit. I don't know why that's not. So sharpen that a little bit. But it's nice if you've got a nice sharp pencil with your Prismacolors. So I'm using the Prisma Black. You can use your polychromos, and this is PC935. And what I'm going to do is come in with a little bit more darkness with the black. Now, when I was saying to you, if you haven't got a HB pencil, what you can do is you can just come out very lightly with your black, or you can just use a grey Prismacolor, but just use that. But initially we're going to put a dark line sort of around the whole heart, and if you've got a nice sharp pencil, you can just get really in to those lines, just to give that really sort of dark edge to the heart. So you're just taking your time just to, and then you can just sort of shade very, very lightly. Just very lightly. Don't press on too much. Look where my hands are. Just go round in a circular motion. Very gently. Just round in a circular motion. Because you just want to sort of make that heart pop. And I'm just going to just add that bit of shading just around here, just so that pops a little bit more, and the black will just make it pop a little bit more. But I've still got some of that pencil, and if you want to drag it out so that it's very subtle, use your pencil, your HB pencil, just here, and then use your paper stump just to soften that out a little bit more. Now you need to sort of add a little bit of that pencil just so that you've got the darkness just around it. Little droplets, and just sort of take your time We'll probably add a couple of little circles as well, but just adding a little bit of that dark, touch of that dark, and you just want to make sure it's a little bit darker. And again, look where my hands are. Now we need to sort of build up the, oh, let's use my little one. You need to sort of build up the white just on these. So you just want to build that up just on the area here. So just use that circular motion. I'm going to pick up my other pencil because it's sharpened, just to add a little bit more of that sort of pigment. Make them just come to a point a little bit more. Just so that you can see, as if sort of the heart is melting. Just lovely. And then we can add a little circles. We can add sort of a little circle. So we'll just add a circle at the moment. And we'll add our little bit of shading with the pencil. Just a little bit of shading around there. I'll just soften that a little bit. Soften that a little bit with your pencil, and then come in with your white pencil and just make it a little bit brighter. So I'm just coming in, adding more layers, and I'm just going to add another sort of circle down here, like so. Add that touch of shading with the black. Again, we can sort of soften that with our paper stump. Just soften the edges, and it'll have some of my HB pencil on there anyway. And we'll just add a little bit more white. Now your pencils, for me, I always find them easier if I've got a sharp, you know, a sharp pencil. And I'm coming in, and because I haven't pressed too hard, I can still come in if I wish and add more layers of that white, just so that you can see, just more layers of that. Now I'm going to use my Posca pen and just add some little touches of white, because it really helps to sort of give them some highlights. I'll lift these up so you can see, because it really is the white that sort of, if you look at them, it's the white that really sort of, the little pop of white, it makes them look more domed, especially on your little circles. It really sort of domes everything out. So can you see, it really sort of adds that touch of brightness to it, but you just sort of keep the texture here. Now I'm going to do the floral, but I'm going to obviously add a little bit of colour to that, but I'm going to still add a little bit of white. So I'm going to start with the white, and again, look where my hand is. Look how delicately I'm just going to add that white. So you can see I'm just adding a delicate layer of that white. I'm not going to press on too much. I'm holding my pencil quite high up because I don't want to break down the fibres of that card too quickly. So I'm just adding a little bit of the white. Let's add a little bit here, like so. Just bring that in. So I'm sort of touching the floral very gently with the white. Now what the white does also, if you add a colour on the top, it really makes that colour pop. But it just takes a little bit of time just to colour everything and just to add the layers really gently. There we go. And this is a beautiful floral when it's coloured in. Right, so I've just started by adding sort of a gentle layer to the card, just so you can see that, just a gentle layer. And I can still, because I've not pressed hard, I can still come into this after it's rested a little bit, and again just add another sort of light layer to that card. So it's how gentle you add the layers. You just need to be aware that it's better to do it slowly. This is just rested a bit, so I'm just going to soften that out, and then I'm just going to come in a little darker. Just a little bit darker, just on that edge. Let's have a look now. You can just see it becomes more sort of 3D. So it works really nicely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a light layer to the whole petals, just so that you can see. And I'm going to colour this in sort of a greeny colour, but it's only going to be a touch of that colour. So I'm now just adding the layer of white to each of the petals. And this is the difference between creative time together, because it's more about simply enjoying the hobby that we love. let's just colour that in. And now let's just add these little sort of stameny bits a little bit darker. So you've got a very light layer on there. I haven't even picked my green out yet. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of a layer. Just a little bit more of that layer, because I want the green that I add to pop. So I'm just adding another layer of that white. But again, you can see that I'm not really pressing on. Only when where these little stameny bits are, I can add a little bit more depth. So what I'm going to do now is just sort of grab the green. I bet it'll be chartreuse, chartreuse or something, because that's usually sort of a lovely, it's a really nice greeny colour. Where are you? Of course, why do I not open green? The only zip section that I haven't opened is the green section. And you can tell I like chartreuse because look how small the pencil is. Now I just want something really dark, so a dark green. So I'm just going to give the chartreuse a little bit of a sharpen. And if I bring the bin a little bit closer to my desk, then it's a little bit easier. So you can see the colours that I use quite a bit. I mean, look at that chartreuse. It's much smaller than my other pencils. Right, so we're going to use the chartreuse, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the green, just a little bit here, so I can see where my green is going to go. Again, don't go in too hard, just go in really lightly. Again, look where my fingers are on that pencil. It forces you to not press too hard, but I'm laying down this green and then I can see where I'm going. This is Chartreuse PC 989. I can hardly read it because I have my hands on there so much. It's rubbed away the actual number. So I'm just bringing in a little bit of this chartreuse. Love that name. A little bit of the chartreuse. I can just see where I'm going then. Can't speak, but I can see where I'm going with the pencils. So, and then I can come in with a little bit more white afterwards. And my watch is telling me to stand. I'm like, go away. I'm not standing, I'm crafting. Just add a little bit there. And I can see now, oh, ouch, I've got an itch. Just in my heart there, I just missed that little bit so that that stands out a little bit. We'll go back to that later. So a little bit more of the green. A little bit more of that green. I'm just taking my time and just adding some of the green to the petals. Just sort of to the centre area and the edges of the petals. I'll hold this up so that you can see where I've added the colour. Obviously we've got lots of smoothing out to do. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to add the white again. More of that layer of white. Just add another layer of that white. Again, not pressing too hard. And if you don't press too hard, it means that you don't break down the fibres of that card too soon. And therefore you've got the option to add more of that pigment because you haven't broken down everything too soon and you haven't filled in the fibres of the card too soon, so it'll allow you to add more layers and smooth everything out. So I'm going to come in with a little more chartreuse, and my aim is to leave a little area that's white sort of in the middle-ish around here, just to give the floral a little bit of shine. So I am going to be adding more white just to that sort of central area. But I do like to take my time when I'm doing the colouring, just to add layers. And just adding those slowly to each of those petals. So I'm bringing in a little bit more of that chartreuse. And again, if I lift that up, you can see how I'm building that colour. So I'm then going to come back to the white, and you're now sort of going to blend the edges of the colour that you've added. So you're just adding a little bit more of the white, just in that area, centre area of each petal. And the more of the pigment you add, you can see where you're going with your colours. You can see how that's working. But again, note where my fingers are on that pencil. I've obviously forgot this big, oh no, that's the heart there. Do you know, I thought I'd missed a petal then. That's with looking at it for so long. Right, I've now got a dark green PC 908, and I'm going to come in and just add a little touch of the dark green to each of the petals. Just a little bit of the dark green, not much. I don't want to add too much of the dark green. just a little bit of the dark green, and I'll keep the number to myself. It's PC 908. Really handy that I don't tell you the colour. It's not good, is it? It really doesn't tell you much. So sort of just adding a little bit. And you're not overpowering it, you're just adding a little touch of that darker green just to the edge. You're not overpowering each of the petals, you're just sort of adding a little touch of that green. And it's hardly anything, but it looks a little bit harsh at the moment because you've got smoothing out to do. I'm just adding a little bit of that dark colour just here and there on the edges. Just a little touch of that. And I'm not putting it on professionally, I'm just scribbling it on. So don't worry too much. So I've sort of got the dark green on in a nice haphazard way because it needs a lot more blending out, but it gives it a little bit of oomph. So what I'm going to do now is go in with my chartreuse a little bit darker, and we're going to blend. Let's add a little bit of the dark there. We're going to blend that dark out with the chartreuse. Just soften it with that chartreuse. So drag that dark colour out just with your chartreuse. And it lightens it a little bit because you're using the chartreuse to blend that colour. And there's always one petal that you miss, or in my case there's always one petal that I miss. I do it every time. So I'm just going to drag that darker colour out. And you're just going to smooth out the darker colour. And blend out more of that chartreuse. Again, you're not pressing hard. Not even got any here. Told you there was always a petal that I miss when I'm doing it. But you're just blending out a little bit of that dark area just to soften everything. And you can then see which areas I haven't done. You can see quite easily where you need to come back. But you're now just sort of building that up. Just lovely. I love doing things like this. I'm then going to take my white pencil. And you're going to come in and blend the edges of your colours. So you come into the centre area here to give it a little bit of shine. So you just give your floral, a little bit of shine by adding that white, and you go into the edges of the colour, the greens, because it just smooths out the greens. There we go. And really need to sharpen this pencil. That needs a little bit more chartreuse. I do like to use a sharp pencil. And as you blend with the white, you really can sort of see I'm going to use my Posca pen as well, but you can see that you're softening everything out and you've got a bit of a sort of a shine here so that it really pops. I'm going to sharpen my white pencil. I'll sharpen my little one. We've got to use it until we get to the very end, and I have got pencil extenders as well. Hey, we can't waste anything, can we? Absolutely not. So I'm going to come in again and I'm going to add a little tiny touch more of the dark. Just really in at these edges here. And I have to remember to speak because I really lose myself when I'm doing this. I get so engrossed that it's so easy to forget to speak. So I'm just adding a little bit to the edges now. So I've added it around this centre area here, and I'm going to add a little tiny bit just to the tip again. And then you can see where you've missed again. I'm just coming in just once again, just with this darker green, just to give a little bit more depth. And everything just comes to life. Let's just add a little bit more. A little bit there, a little bit here. And now I'm going to do a bit of work now to blend that out with the chartreuse. And I think I'm going to sharpen my chartreuse again. And just add a little bit more. And I'm still laying down that chartreuse, and it blends out the darker green, which is rather nice. Just blends it out just beautifully. So I'm going into that darker green with the chartreuse and making sure I blend that. So I'm just taking a little bit more time now just to blend a little bit more of that green so it's more blended. and adding another layer of the chartreuse. And now everything's becoming a lot smoother, looking a lot more blended. Now that I've added another layer of this chartreuse. It works really nicely. And then the dark green isn't then quite so harsh. On that floral, because it just works really nicely. I'm then going to use the white and then come in and just add my last layer of the white. Just to add the shine back in again, and also just to blend the edges of the two greens together, just so that that works really nicely, just to finish everything off. And you've just got that lovely shine on there, just to make that pop a little bit more. And I just think that floral is just gorgeous. Now, so look at it there, but watch when you just add a few dots of white gel pen in the centre. So just add a few dots of the white gel pen and come into the green, just here and there. Don't think about it too much, just come into the green a little bit. And just dot those. And again, another thing that makes me just switch off. Now it becomes even more dimensional. But what I want you to do is, can you see the camera? Can you see the dots? Once you've done that, I want you to go back in again with more dots, with sort of like another layer of the dots, because it sort of even adds more dimension. We'll just add there we go. And then what I'm going to do is just add a little touch of the Posca pen, sort of where I've got the shine on the petals. Just going to add a little bit of my Posca pen just to add to that shine, sort of emphasize that a little bit more. Bring out a few of bits of like the pollen just out to the floral. And now I think that looks really sort of dimensional. Look, it's all flat. It's completely flat. But because the way we've coloured it, the flower all looks also almost looks quite domed. It's just wonderful. I just love that, and it works really nicely. I just love it. So then I'll come in, add another layer to this sort of droplets, just so that you can see. Don't they look kind of cool? Just lovely. I absolutely love them. So let's just place that on here. And then what I'm going to use is, where have you gone? I want to use the VersaFine Clair Verdant. And then we're going to use our text stamp. It's never off my desk, TE11. And the TE1 to TE17 stamp sets have got 10% off until tonight, Tuesday. Don't know what date it is. What date is it? Tuesday the 29th. So yes, until later tonight, there's 10% off TE1 to TE17. So I'm going to use Verdant. So let's take the Verdant. And then I'm going to add a little touch of some stamping. Oh, just lovely. Oh, I do love it when things come together. And I do love taking my time and just adding these beautiful little details. Let's add a little bit up there. Oh, just gorgeous. There's just something about stamping, it just brings me so much joy. Let's carry this on down a little bit further. Like so. Now, just look at that. I just think that is really, really classy. Just beautiful. Now, I've no idea what words I'm going to add, but let's have a look. Do you know, I'm going to use the Sending Hugs from the A Beautilon Flower, because I think there's nothing nicer than sending hugs to somebody. I really don't. Now, Wendy, I hope you get to watch this video, because not a single piece of cutting out or fussy cutting anywhere. But obviously, apart from the sentiment, but that's not really fussy cutting. So I'm going to grab the Sending Hugs, because you can send hugs for any reason that you want, can't you? Just thinking about somebody. So I'm going to use a piece of white card. We'll use our black ink to add the Sending Hugs. If I put that against a straight edge, then hopefully I get a straight edge, she says confidently. We're just going to cut that out. Really pleased with this. I love doing a bit of colouring and shading. I also love showing just how versatile stamps are. You know, a bit of colour, some stamps, you don't need anything else. And you can while away so many happy hours, because stamps you can use over and over and over. And you can give them a new lease of life, because when you buy one new stamp, it automatically, if they work together, which they should do, it automatically gives them a new lease of life. So I love using my camera just to decide where I want things. So it's entirely up to you where you want to sort of add. I think I'm going to add mine there. And if you look in camera, you get a different feel. So sometimes just look through your camera lens and it'll give you an idea of where you might want things. So let's just take this. If you want, you can put it completely out of the heart, if you wish. There's so many places that it works nicely, but I like to keep it sort of in my cluster. There we go. But it's entirely up to you. You see things differently to how I see things, so you just place things where they make you happy. That's all. That's what it's about. So we're going to take my Inktense pencil, which is also very small, and we're just going to add a little bit of shading just there. Let's add it across there as well. That's it. And then we'll just take our brush, just make sure that, and then we'll just blend this out quite nicely. And the thing is, where's my pencil? You shouldn't really touch your pencils with moisture. But my brush is not too wet, and it's not too much of a big brush where I'm adding too much moisture. Just a little bit of shading under there. What did I do with my kitchen roll? Nobody knows. Let's just wipe that up. Just beautiful. I love it. You could add a little bird if you wanted to, but I just love it like that. We're going to add this to the white mat to make everything pop. And just a bit of relaxing colouring, enjoying ourselves. Terrible English. There we go. I like to lift it up because I can have a really good look at where my placement is. That's lovely. But you can see all flat. I'm going to add some splatters. You don't have to add the splatters if you don't wish. Remember to put a strip of card over your sentiment if you don't want to hit that sentiment. There we go. That's it. So if you don't want to hit that sentiment, then I'm going to add that to the 5 by 7 inch card blank. Like so. There we go. Add that to our card blank. Just finishes it off, whatever that gremlin is. I think it's just a mark on the card. So just make sure that's straight. There we go. And I'm just going to extend my splatters. Where have you gone? Just a little bit to this edge. That's it. And a little bit to that edge, just so it extends onto the card. And then you have a card that's got no fussy cutting. It's got beautiful dimension, and I think that's really classy. I really do. I just love it. And you could easily add the floral to the inside of the card as well. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration and that you'll give that a go. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.